episodes in and we didn't know, is she pregnant? Is she not? Yes, she could have ordered a pregnancy test and in 10 minutes she would know she was pregnant, but our good sis dragged this entire thing out. And on top of that, she wasn't exactly too apprehensive of being the 25th baby mama of a man who is Father Abraham. Speaking of Father Abraham, the man wouldn't have minded another child. Yet when he was confronted with the idea of marrying said potential baby mother, he was like, God forbid. Why would I do that? Yes, I can procreate with her, but me, I should go to Ghana and ask for a hand. Diamond, father of many nations. And then we have Homegirl. What has been her storyline this entire time she's been on the show? That she's waiting for the man she has been living with for 5 years to marry her. Oh, such a refreshing storyline. We never hear of that, our good sis. And then we have a grown man who is wondering, why would she be sad that after 5 years of being with me, she wants me to marry her? Yeah, I can give her a baby. If it's a baby she wants, I'm ready to be a father. But to be your husband, I would rather eat grass than to be your husband. But I don't understand, why would she be upset about that? Don't we love grown men who have commitment issues? And then we have this man, my heart breaks for him. He really wants a family. You know, he's been disowned. So logically, it makes sense that he should find a random girl to put his sperm with a random egg to carry his baby. How he intends to raise this magical child that will heal all his wounds, we don't know, but he really wants a baby. So the entire time we keep hearing about surrogacy. Wait a minute, wasn't that last season? Didn't we continuously hear about surrogacy last season? Yes, a refreshing storyline for this young man. The supposed Queen Bee. Was she interested in the specimen of her baby daddy? Maybe, we don't know. She didn't exactly deny it, but she denied it, but it seemed there was proof, and the baby daddy also iterated that she did indeed want his specimen. But of course, it makes sense that she spends the entire season gaslighting her young, fine man. Gaslighting that man that, oh, he's so insecure. Why do you keep asking me about this supposed text message? Just believe me, even though there's proof that I probably did ask him for a specimen. Just believe me. And then we have this man. Where did she find such a beautiful man with beautiful skin? Such a lucky woman, so patient. Honestly turned out to be the most mature. And he's honestly probably the only one on the show that qualifies as young. And not be famous, but young and African. I give him a 10 out of 10. That was my favorite character. And then, you know, did she get married for social media? We don't know. It seemed like it was called in question. Did she bring a lot to the show? I don't know. Remains to be seen. The one drink that she tried to throw didn't even land. So it's giving fluff a little bit, but I did love her short haircut. I thought she slayed a short haircut, but she didn't really give me too much. You know, is this a character with many looks? Yes. Yes. So many looks. So many. You know, was I overwhelmed? I was. At a certain point, I was like, please, Swanky, is there anything regular in your closet? I just want you to be regular for 2 seconds. You know, the walkway, the runway walk, it became too costume-ish. Is it a look or is it a costume? I didn't really know. But I like him though, because he stood on business. He stood on business. Now, did he come at Lewis a little too strong at times? He did, but you know what? I like Swanky. Personally, I want a friend like Swanky. I would want someone to be like a Swanky to me, because one thing about him, he gonna stand up for his friends, okay? Mrs. Innocent. Mrs. I don't even want to pick on you. Between the lace front that had lifted from Lagos to Johannesburg, you already had a tough season. And yes, people did gang up on you, but not really, because you were throwing a lot of stones and hiding your hands, Miss Annie. You were starting wars that you knew you couldn't fight. So honestly, it was hard to feel sorry for you. You know, between the head shaking, the destabilization, you couldn't take any confrontation. Anytime you were called out, you just could not bring yourself to say, you know what, I was tripping. I shouldn't have said something about your wedding. I shouldn't have said that, oh, he's too young for you. Miss Annie, you just found it really hard to stand on business. So it was really hard to watch you and even support you a little bit. Again, the lace front. Honestly, Miss Annie, that lace front was criminal. You really caused me stress. And I will try to forgive you for that, but it will be tough. Last but not least, I give it up to the queen. Oh, the queen. She gave us looks. She gave us Nollywood. She gave us class. Miss Ini Edo. I actually really enjoyed her on the show. She pulled the show together. She surprised me. I loved her looks. I loved how she checked people. I love how she maintained her balance, her steves. She was never unfazed. One of my favorite parts, one of my favorite scenes with her was when Lewis tried to give her a little kiss and she said hello. I learned that. I was like, wow, if I encounter an enemy that tries to give me a fake Hello. So, Young Famous on Africa, season 3, overall entertaining. All right, let's get into it. Overall, I found season 3 to be the most entertaining season of all the seasons that they've had this show. I thought that each episode was drama. So let's start it off with Fantana and Diamond. Pissed me off, irritated me. I was not a fan of them at all. They did too much. Fantana was Delulu. Like, girl, what kind of relationship were you faking to be having with this man? The whole thing was just, it was almost tragic to watch, honestly. Every time I kept getting secondhand embarrassment, and to have secondhand embarrassment for somebody you've never met is very painful. I wish I never could experience such, but I was like, girl, are you begging him to maybe low-key impregnate you? Because when the pregnancy test came back and she wasn't pregnant, and she was like, I mean, we can talk about that. Is it delusion? Is it for the show? Because ain't no way you looked at that man and you thought, wow. And then that random love triangle with Kefilwe, I think that's how I'm saying her name. I thought that was weird. Like, when they called each other and they thought they were teaming up with him, and then at the end of it all, he still ends up kissing her in front of people. The embarrassment, it was the worst storyline. I did not enjoy it at all. And then Nadia getting worked up. I'm like, girl, it's not your disaster to fix. Like, if she wants to be the 15th baby mama, that's her business, honestly. So I did not enjoy the whole Fantana Diamond thing. I'm like, this is so gross. Like, I just don't see what you are seeing. But you know what? It's your eyesight. It's your life. Whatever. Was not here for that couple. Now, Cali and DJ Naked. Oh my gosh. When will we get tired of this storyline of begging to be married? I mean, word on the street is they are married now. Good for them. But it was too much. Like, it was truly painful to watch every episode. Oh, well, then I'll just move out. To me, I'm like, staying on business. She should just moved out. Just move out. You said you're gonna do it, girl, just do it. She should have moved out, staying on business, do something. It was almost like they were now begging him to get married at the point when he now said, oh, it's like you're tricking me. She's been living with you for years. How can she be tricking you? So whatever, they got engaged. I was not here for it. Like, whatever. Louis, I pray to God he discovers therapy and healing and prayer and love, because to want to mend, you know, it really broke my heart when he said he wanted to mend things with his family, because he figured if he brought a child home because the child is innocent, they would have no other choice but to somehow accept him. I'm like, you can't be summoning a child into this world for those purposes. No. And then the whole surrogacy thing, the auditioning of women, the Lulu. Like, are you okay? Are you well, sir? On top of that, we never really got into where he was gonna get the egg. It's just the fact that he was just gonna summon a child and summon a woman's uterus, and then he would think that would be all it takes. I'm like, does he not have other things going on? You mean to tell me there's no film project you're working on? There's no like business project you're working on? This is a storyline for a second season? No, that was strange. And then when he now roped Ini Edo into the whole thing, irritating. And I'm like, did they trick her to come on the show to like exploit her surrogacy story? Because it just was starting to get icky, disgusting. Like, for what? Louis, get help. Now, Zari, usually I like to stay in her because she's a master manipulator, and I have this weird toxic respect for you that can manipulate. But she did too much. For me, when she started gaslighting her own innocent and beautiful husband, that's when I said, you know what, ma'am, relax. It was gross. Like, that whole scene when she was dropping him off at the boys' night and she called him insecure. She said that it's all in your head. You're insecure. You're projecting it on me. You're making things up. I'm like, girl, you definitely asked that man for his specimen for another child, and you're not doing a good job deflecting. Like, the way she was trying to deflect, it wasn't working. I'm like, girl, you're lying. You should just own up to it. So I didn't like how she played him, but one thing about her husband, he is the king. And I don't even want to use that word. He exhibited so much maturity. He just brought such a lightness. And can I just confess, I do love the Ugandan accent. I do. Not too much though. Let's not yell it to the sky. But I enjoyed him. He was so polite. And when Kefilwe almost threw a drink at Zari, and Zari, she stayed unfazed because her man stood up and made sure that no drink was spilled on her. That's how much of a gentleman he was. I truly enjoyed him. He was always the voice of reason, and he always told people the truth in the moment. I completely enjoyed him this season. I thought he was such a lovely guy. So this is my favorite character of the season, honestly. A wonderful addition. Nice, well dressed, beautiful hairline, beautiful skin. I was here for him. And then Miss Kefilwe, I don't know. She didn't. I found it really hard to connect with her as a character. I didn't know what she was about. I know she was supposed to be an influencer, but then then she's going through a divorce, but then we don't really see the guy, and we don't really hear much. We don't even know what happened. I'm like, what's the point of this choppy storyline? It didn't give me much. She's a beautiful girl. I love that shortcut on her, but I didn't get much. And then she really worked hard to fight with Zari, so I just thought, you're doing too much. And then her setting Diamond up with Fantana, I'm like, girl, doing too much. She was doing too much, yet so little. Okay, she was doing too much yet giving so little. So I could, maybe she would come back. I don't know. I wouldn't miss her, to be honest. Mr. Swanky, like I said, I like him as a friend. I think he was such a good friend. Every time somebody had beef with one of his friends, he would check them. I love that for him. The costumes. The costume, at a certain point, like there was a point where they were playing, is it pickleball? And the look, it was too much. At a certain point, I'm like, okay. This is too produced. It was too much for me. But I love Swanky. Swanky's a great friend. I wish I had a Swanky in my life. All right, Swanky seemed like somebody that would never leave you in a ditch. Annie needs to make up with him. Speaking of Annie, Auntie Annie, Mrs. Innocent. Lace wig. That lace wig was. It was. You see, it's a scar on my heart. It's not something I enjoyed viewing, honestly. You need to ask us for repentance for such. We didn't do anything to deserve that lace wig. And then on top of that, her behavior, just bad. Yelling at Ini Edo, yelling at Nadia, yelling at Swanky. She yelled at everybody and never took accountability. She had such a hard time taking accountability. Just had a hard time saying, you know what, I shouldn't have said that about your husband. I shouldn't have called him young. I shouldn't have insinuated that you were dating someone way too young for you. Even if the math was mathing on, he is younger. She was being shady and she didn't say it in good spirit. And then her saying, well, I did a wedding, so you're doing a wedding. It was the Lulu. I'm like, girl, we know the circumstances of this renewal. We know the background story to your whole, marriage and whatnot. This is not the time to be trying to use your marriage to oppress anybody. So she put herself in the line of fire and she couldn't take the heat. So I just didn't like that she could never take accountability. Well, last but not least, I salute you, Queen Ini Edo. I love Ini Edo. If you know me, you know I love Nollywood. Ini Edo can never do wrong in my eyes. I just loved her. Like, she was coming in with the dramatics, the fits, the looks, the Nollywood drama. Do not talk to me that way. You will not talk to me that way. I felt the spirit of Nollywood of the early 2000s coming out. I loved it. I just thought she was really classy. She showed herself to be very mature. And then she was a little bit messy, but I liked it. It was messy in a calculating way. Like her asking Cali, like, how come, her and Naked are not married? I was like, girl, you being messy, but I loved it. Overall, Young Famous and African season 3 was a hit. Me and my friends binged it. We had a good time. It was very entertaining. I missed Kanye, but I will say the cast held it down even without her, but we definitely missed her on the screen. She got her, she has her sayings and whatnot. My favorite saying from last season is, men will leave you out in the desert with no water. Kanye, you were missed. But it was a great season, and hopefully they'll bring it back for season 4. Thanks for tuning in.